everybody, and good Thursday morning to you. Let's do a quick weather update this morning because we have our winter storm tracking our way, of course, later on today. This will be a lower impact storm for most compared to some of our storms this winter, but still, we're going to have to watch out for some slick spots, certainly in parts of the area this evening and into the overnight hours. Overnight, the National Weather Service offices in both Cleveland and Pittsburgh did issue a winter weather advisory for all the counties in our television viewing area. For some, this runs until 9 a.m. Friday, for some till 10 a.m. Don't worry about those nuances. The impactful weather will be mostly this evening and heading into the overnight hours for tonight. First things first, we have a little bit, and I mean just a little bit, of light snow and flurry activity scooting across the area this morning. This is all pretty low impact, but you're going to see a couple of snowflakes here and there this morning. This is just a kind of an appetizer, if you will. The main show comes starting this evening as low pressure starts to get its act together down here across the lower Mississippi Valley. There's going to be a lot of places dealing with snow and ice today and into tonight, not only here in Ohio and western Pennsylvania, but down across the Mid-South and even as far south as places such as Texas. We're going to be dealing with some pretty nasty winter weather down there. All right, let's time things out here. A lot of questions on social media about timing. What will the roads be like tonight and into tomorrow morning? Clock times are up here in the corner of your screen. We'll be in pretty good shape through the daylight hours today as we fast forward into this evening. Here's the simulated radar at 7 p.m. The precipitation approaching at this point. I think it'll begin to precipitate in most of our area sometime during the 7 o'clock hour, maybe in our western areas closer to 7 p.m. on the dot, and then maybe closer to 8 in some areas out towards I-79 in western PA. But yeah, here comes the precipitation. Now, temperatures will be very tricky with this. This may come in some places, especially in our far southern areas, as just plain rain and just stay plain rain. In other words, you might see limited frozen precipitation at all down towards Salineville and Wellsville and East Liverpool. Maybe initially we have a mix, but I don't think it'll take long before it's just a cold, miserable, but above freezing rain in those locations. The farther north you go, the higher chance you have of seeing a few hours at least of sleet and even some snow. I think in our far northern areas, this probably comes in as wet snow, maybe a little sleet mixed in, and some of this can stick. We'll probably see some snow accumulation in places like Mesopotamia and Kinsman and Gustavus and Greenville, over towards Sandy Lake perhaps as well. But you don't have to head too far south of those locations before you get into more sleet and more freezing rain. So in Warren and Youngstown and Boardman and places like that, it's probably a good wintry mix for a lot of the evening. Changing over, I think, to rain in most places as we go into the overnight hours. Now, the peach is more sleet, the purple's a little more freezing rain, and then, of course, the greens and yellows are just plain rain. So this is a radar snapshot at midnight. It's going to be precipitating everywhere. The question is what kind? Again, farther south, more rain. Farther north, more mix. Where we have prolonged mixing and some wet snow, you can see some accumulations and surfaces can get rather slick, even in areas that have rain for a lot of the night. So in a place like Lisbon, in a place like Hanoverton, East Palestine, Newcastle, down to East Liverpool, even if you see rain most of the night and air temperatures are around 33, 34, the temperatures of colder surfaces, railings, your car windshield, elevated surfaces, bridges and overpasses if they haven't been treated, those surfaces can have a colder temperature than the ambient air temperature. So even if you have rain for a lot of the night, some of those colder surfaces could still get a little accretion of ice. Just not expecting big impacts because of the somewhat warmer temperatures in those locations. So in the wee hours of the night tonight, here's a look at the simulated radar at 5 a.m. By this point, even in areas that had snow and sleet earlier in the night, we might just see just plain old rain or a rain-sleet, freezing rain mix as the system winds down. I don't think there's a lot of snow out there at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, you know, if you are a morning commuter, if you've got to get around Friday morning, what will conditions be like? This is 7 a.m. Our system's pulling away at this point. So I don't think there's much more out there than maybe some drizzle and some flurries during prime head to school, head to work hours Friday morning. Later in the morning, again, maybe we get grazed by a couple of flurries, but I don't think the weather's very impactful during rush hour Friday morning, as the steadiest of the precipitation will have pushed away. As far as what to expect snow and ice-wise, we haven't really changed our thoughts as far as accumulations go. This is a look at snow, basically nothing in the south. A slushy coating to an inch in kind of the middle of our viewing area. Your best chance of a couple or even a few slushy inches of snow and sleet, again, the far north, up towards Route 87 in Trumbull County, over into the northern, say, 1/3 of Mercer County. But once you're down closer to 422, and especially closer to I-80 and south, you're going to be hard pressed to get much in the way of snow accumulation out of this. But that being said, watch for some slick surfaces. Freezing rain accretion with the changeover to plain rain. You're not going to see much in the way of a buildup of ice in our southern areas, even though a few surfaces can be slick because I mentioned those temperatures can be a little bit colder than the air temperature. Best chance of impactful ice, enough maybe to create a good glaze for a little while, will be closer to the I-80 corridor and points north. This is not going to be an ice storm in those locations, and I think for a lot of places this will be a much less impactful ice event than the one we had just a few weeks ago. So bottom line, watch for slick surfaces this evening as this pushes in. I think as temperatures start to warm a little bit overnight, a lot of places will see a changeover to at least a freezing rain sleet mix, if not just plain rain for a time. And then if you're heading out Friday morning, traveling across the region, I think we're in wind down mode, and I'm not expecting high impacts in most locations. Be on the lookout for the occasional slick spot Friday morning, but I don't think this is a big impact thing for rush hour Friday morning. All right, so after this, things are going to calm down, and next week is looking a little bit milder as we welcome in the month of March. I'll have full updates on tonight's situation and the longer range this evening on Weather for Weather Geeks. Grab the forecast anytime on the Storm Tracker 21 app, and I'll see you later on today on 21 News at 6 and 11. Have a great Thursday.